Hello, and welcome to this episode where we are checking out the White Album 2 Blu-ray. This is Volume 3. Volume 3, as you can see, has an absolutely gorgeous, I guess I would call it a DVD. It's a Blu-ray DVD. We have Io and Setsuna dressed up in their wonderful school festival hakama, their traditional outfits. And I love the fact that we get to see Io in it because, sadly, we didn't get to see her really in the game. So, kind of fulfilling our wishes here. Look at her little hair clip. It's so cute. It's so different to see her dressed feminine and adorable. But really, really nice. And that's just the CD, right? They did such a good job with all of this. This is, again, Volume 3. So coming to the actual cover of the Blu-ray, we get a little bit of a bigger image, a more full image of Setsuna and Io here. The coloring, of course, is just like in the anime. It's a little bit more simplified. Like you can see the shines in her hair rather than being the all-around kind of more painted style. It's just little, almost like a slit of light in her hair. It is pretty though. These are so hard to put on by yourself, by the way. That is why Io was helping. The little white straps that she's wearing around her neck are to pull back the sleeves, because the sleeves are, of course, very, very long. And when you want to do something like cooking or cleaning while wearing this, you put these on and it holds the sleeves behind you. Very convenient. Although nothing is convenient about traditional Japanese wear. Winter is coming on. That bittersweet, eternal moment. Project WA2. So we get this is kind of the back part of the bonus postcard. You can see like this bluish whitish after image of Kazusa here. White Album 2. Illustration by Takashi Nakamura. He is, of course, the artist of White Album 2 itself. And on this bonus postcard, like, holy crap. This is so good. They did such a good job. The sheet music there is Todokanai Koi, and this is when Kazusa was, of course, trying to write Haruki's song and passed out from overworking herself. Now, I don't know that this is exactly how it happened. I don't know why she would be looking quite like this. Not that I'm complaining. But, like, holy crap. Every bonus postcard that came with these Blu-rays were so well done. Why they never got turned into tapestries or posters or anything like that, I don't know. And it is such a shame because look at this art. Look at how gorgeous this is. I mean, fan service aside, this is drawn super, super well. Like a lot of effort got put into that. I love it. White Album 2. Winter is coming on. That bittersweet, eternal moment. Blu-ray Volume 3. And in Volume 3, it contains episodes 5 and 6. Very short for a whole Blu-ray. These were expensive when they came out. 2 episodes. But starting with episode 5, Hearts in Touch. After learning about Haruki's repeated overnight stays at Kazusa's house, Setsuna finally reveals her true self to him. The withdrawn, cowardly, awkward personality that she had kept hidden for so long. Which seems silly. She was a little offended that her friends kept a secret from her. That doesn't mean that she's withdrawn or cowardly or awkward. That just means she's upset at her friends for doing something crappy. But that's just my opinion, I guess. To her surprise, however, Haruki accepts this true Setsuna completely. With all of this ill feeling dissipated, the three of them deepen their bond as they carry on toward the school festival. But unbeknownst to the other two, Kazusa has been foregoing both food and sleep, absorbed in her own final prank for the festival. Oh, gotcha. I made you a beautiful lifelong keepsake of a song. Oh, totally owned. With prank. And then number 6, before the festival. 2 days before the school festival show, Kazusa finally collapses from overwork, as shown in that gorgeous postcard. Haruki looks after her while continuing his guitar practice. As Kazusa watches him, delirious from her fever, supposedly, she opens up about the complicated feelings she harbors regarding her relationship with her mother, Yoko. At the same time, in the gym where rehearsals for the show are taking place, Setsuna, separated from the other two, is gripped with terror at being alone on stage for the first time in her life. Yeah, the stage fright episode, but also Kazusa being sick, so many interesting things all wrapped up in one episode. Love the little preview images that they chose here too. This volume's character profile is Kazusa, and I love Kazusa's character design, but I'm not crazy about her character design for the anime. I just kind of feel like the top of her hair is so flat. Like, I don't know. I wish her hair looked fuller like it does in the game and in everything else. And in some scenes in the anime where it's more active and her hair is kind of flowing or moving, it looks normal. But in these standalone figures, I think it just looks a little too, like, I don't know. It almost looks greasy. Like if you haven't showered in a few days and your hair gets really flat, this is what Kazusa reminds me of in these figures. So, sorry, Kazusa. They did you dirty. They could have done better. They should have done better. Starting from the right, Kazusa Toma, VA Hitomi Dabatame, Hojo High School, Class 3E, Haruki's classmate who sits in the desk next to his. Frequently falls asleep in class or skips it entirely, and is all but abandoned by her teachers. And because of the aloof, solitary, prickly attitude she takes, her classmates keep their distance from her as well, with the exception of just one. Aww, of course, that being Haruki. Kazusa Toma. And on the left here, this is really cool because they give a little bit of backstory about the characters. Some of it is stuff that's not necessarily spoken in the game, which is kind of cool, but a lot of it is obvious, it can be inferred. But it is by Fumiaki Maruto, who is the writer of White Album 2. So anything that you read here is going to be canon, which is cool. The natural-born faithful dog. Pianist. So cheesy. In contrast with Setsuna, I basically heaped on traits that could easily be shown two-dimensionally, aiming for a heroine who could sway someone's heart directly and instinctually. Cool, cute, lonely, useless, sure, but still an attractive and adorable heroine. That's so mean. She's also a sort of cheat heroine, a beautiful piano prodigy with long black hair, who never approaches anyone else and is practically unnoticed by anyone except Haruki. The kind who makes you go, wow, could the guy who made her be any more obvious about his loser fantasies? Maruto-san. This goes for both the game and the anime. That being the case, for the first half, I wanted Kazusa to be a brusque, poker-faced type whose feelings you can't really read. Showing her winning a game of I doubt it was a choice made with that aim. So she has a really good poker face. She doesn't reveal her true feelings to others. While the plan was for her real feelings to steadily reveal themselves throughout the second half, but either because the staff's love for her was too strong or because she herself was so easy to figure out, her feelings toward Haruki started finding their way onto the screen from the start, turning into something really impressive. Particularly with this 6th episode included in this very box. At this rate, it's hard not to rag on Haruki for being so dense. Will you figure it out already? He really is. The signs are like flashing and beaming in his face at this point. Staff credit is there on the left. You can go ahead and read that yourself if you are interested. A lot of the people who worked really hard to put this together. On the right-hand side is Fumiaki Maruto text commentary. Kazusa's stuffed animal. Oh, the broken puppy. I love this so much. I love the extra commentary. So we're getting a little bit of extra context and commentary on episode 5, Hearts in Touch. I apologize very much for the A part of this episode. Almost entirely a lover's quarrel, largely in the form of a dragged-out phone conversation. The sort that inspires irritation and explosive frustration in the viewers upon whom it is inflicted. But quite a bit of it was actually shaved off. Refer to script. Which may raise the exasperated question of how wordy this story was initially planned to be. But even so, I am deeply grateful to the craftsmanship of the anime staff, who took this greasy conversation scene and neutralized it with the quick movements of Setsuna's actions and feelings in her performance. That was such a long sentence, holy cow. But there's a lot that happens in White Album too. Like, the introductory chapter is not short, right? The first time you play through it and you don't skip anything, it's long. And so to condense that into a very short anime, that's tough. So of course you have to slice out huge parts of the conversations, but then you can't slice out too much or it loses the emotional impact. That's a really, really hard job to do. Still, I'm sure there are people who around this point have started to think, God, Setsuna's a drag. But I happen to find her nuisanceness to be cute and charming, and I love it. In fact, so saying that won't make any difference. You gotta have confidence in your waifus, I guess. Apart from that, with deep apologies to people who won't know what I'm talking about, I have to touch upon the special guest for the 5th episode. Miyazaki-sensei, aka Tomu Miyazaki. If you don't know who that is, search White Album, This Is Her House. Yes, this is the second part of the Throwing Things Out There series, following Akujo in episode 2. Regarding this one, I'd been slipping in exchanges with producer Mori from King Records along the lines of, let's get Tomu Miyazaki in there. I laid out a lot of money asking for Otona Keikaku about it. This is just an imaginary version of the conversation. And ultimately, he really was called, and the feeling of having my 10-year-old dream was immeasurable. Whatever it says about me to have held on to a one-off appearance as a dream. Yet again, King Records, I'll stay with you for the rest of my Can't finish that sentence. You can't promise that. I love when characters from other games or animes make appearances in different games and animes because it's such a cute little Easter egg, you know? It's such a cute little thing. Especially for people in the industry who you're excited to meet. And then you put them in your episode like, oh my god, that's very cool. And then the little asterisk is actually put in the bottom right-hand side here to the right of episode 6. Otona Keikaku, the theatrical troupe to which Tomu Miyazaki belongs. So, then moving on to a little bit of commentary from episode 6, Before the Festival. Here, in both the game and the anime, we see middle school Kazusa for the first time. And with the half-naked dress shirt look, the sleepwear, and the sickly blanket-wrapped mode, the A part of this episode is really peerless on the Kazusa front. Adorable. I love these scenes. Personally, I think Kazusa's cuteness in this episode really went off the rails. By the way, concerning that amply cute and sexy look with the dress shirt, the coffee spilled on Kazusa's skirt in the post-credits scene of episode 5 was purely for this purpose, with the idea at the root of it that Haruki had been the one to take the skirt off of her. And the director, who'd been behind it, insisted that there absolutely had to be a point at which Haruki flew into a panic when Kazusa pointed it out later. So silly. So much fan service. But the fans definitely did notice. Like, it's a very obvious scene. Well, there's not really enough time in this episode. Then put it in as a conversation in the Hot Springs episode. I was really impressed by this mysteriously vehement determination. Ultimately, though, that passage never fit conveniently into the episode runtime. Sorry about that, director. Oh. And for the B part. This one was peerless on the sets and a front. The whole time she's in her tie show romantic hostess outfit. I love how romantic is capitalized here, because it's very romantic. From her shoujo manga scene being kidnapped by Haruki, to her embarrassing Haruki on the train in retaliation, even to the jealous lip biting at the Toma house. The way she pulls it all off. Setsuna's cuteness really went off the etc. Because he's just going to say the same things about Setsuna that he said about Kazusa. The little thing with her walking pigeon-toed and running her fingers over Haruki's back. What kind of fetishist thought that up? I liked it a lot. As if he didn't write it himself. As if he wasn't the fetishist that thought that up in the first place. Then we have the back blue side with a few more snowflakes, and then Project WA2 at the end. So, a lot of fun little goodies and little behind-the-scenes paragraphs for this Blu-ray. So, thank you so much for joining me on this, I guess, Blu-ray reading for White Album 2, and I'll be back to review Volume 4 shortly. Until then, hope you take care. See you!